Hey guys, what's up? It's Isaac. Welcome to week 3 of building the motorcycle. This week we're gonna be focusing on the wiring, which is the new M unit, which I'm not familiar with, but after some digging on the internet and look manual, I figured out how to do it. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that this week. We're gonna install the brakes, make sure everything else works. Work on the gas tank. We got a lot in store for us this week, guys. So let's jump right into it. We're gonna start with the gas tank. Oh, I picked up a battery. I'm gonna show you guys what to do when you get a new battery. It's pretty easy, but I'm gonna show you all how to do it, just so you know. So let's get to it. These ugly things. Don't need any of these. Guys, now we got those ugly little like mounts for the ugly like signal lights. So we're getting rid of those and we're just gonna give these a quick clean up. We're gonna probably need to get some stuff because those look pretty dirty. Clean them back up, put the triple tree back on, and we're gonna get some wiring started. We took all this off, so we're gonna put our brake back on with our master cylinder, and then we're gonna make sure our wires work. I might just get a new brake thing because this one's kind of cruddy at the end of it, but we're gonna just try it out, make sure that works. Putting our clutch on the other side over here, and we're gonna make sure the clutch works to start the motor. And we're gonna get we got our new grips on here, and we're gonna work on our accelerator to make sure that's all dialed in right, and then our start button, which I put a new M unit button in. So I'm gonna install the brakes, the brake handle, and the clutch and make sure everything works. Angle that line down just a little bit. That way it fits a little bit better and doesn't run. You wanna have more of a direct route right to the actual master cylinder part. So that's tightened up. We're gonna tighten this to the handlebars. Okay, so we're gonna tighten this up. That's a 10mm. Okay guys, so we're gonna install the old brake pads. They're not too horrible, but I'm definitely gonna get a new set of them. We're gonna set the old brakes in there, like so. So you wanna keep these two tabs to the top of the brake, like so. And you'll feel when they fit. And that back one might wanna fall out, so you're just gonna wanna keep a little pressure on there just for now. And you're gonna take your brake, which is hooked up to the line. I'll do it on the other one. I'll show you guys how to do that. We're gonna take it on there. We're gonna take these two back parts right here on the frame, and we're gonna make sure we grab that first. I'm just gonna push and slide it in like so. And it should fit like that. Now you wanna make sure your pads are properly seated in there. You're gonna grab your bolts that go back on there. Okay, brake 2. Brake pads on first. We're gonna hold that back one on because if you look here, that back one's gonna want to fall out. You guys can't really see that, but it wants to fall out. So we're gonna take the back part, put it in first to hold that second brake in. And we're gonna push it on. Give it a couple knocks with your hand, right where the two bolt holes are. Then we're gonna have to install our hydraulic cable. Something else you don't want to get confused is this one has a hole right here. This is the only one that's for the hydraulic cable or the master cylinder. The other bolt are regular bolts. all the way around. So those are the ones you want to put on to the caliper. So we're gonna put the one on the top. Okay guys, so we're gonna put the DOT brake fluid, hydraulic fluid, into the master cylinder. You wanna keep this stuff away from paint. We're gonna apply the brakes. Here's the mounting bracket. The M unit's gonna fit within those two holes. It's gonna get mounted right up on top here. Now we're gonna mount a wire right to that one. Bend kind of gives it a little bit of an angle. Okay, we can tighten that up. Okay guys, now we got our power coming to our M unit, and we have our power from our switch right here, or our ignition switch, coming down to the M unit. And now we have the lock hooked up. The lock is back here hooked up, which is the black wire right here. And then the only way you need to ground the M unit is ground it to the chassis. So all I did is tighten this bolt down to the chassis. And then all we have to do is run that red wire right here back to the battery. Okay, so we're at the M unit, and all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna turn the key and see if it works. And we have power. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna wire the starter in now. Now in order for this to work on my motorcycle, either need to be in neutral or I need to hold the clutch in. So I'm gonna wire the clutch into it, and then we're gonna have to hook up our starter solenoid. So let's start that. So we got these couple wires. We got a green with a red stripe, and we have a regular green. Now the regular green on this bike is ground. So we gotta ground this one out, and this one is power. Now I got this wire soldered right here to the other wire. I chose pink just because I have like 1,000 wires to use, so I'm kind of bored. So whenever I wire wires, you always want to heat shrink them. So I got this little heat shrink right here. I actually got a whole kit from Amazon for less than 10 bucks. There's like 500 different amounts in here of all different sizes. I would highly recommend buying yourself something like this. Just if you're gonna be doing projects like this, even if you're just doing this single project, it's still worth it. It's like 10 bucks and it saves you a bunch of time of cutting them all. So we're gonna slip that over that to right about the center. Because right there it is. We're gonna grab a heat gun or a lighter or whatever. I'm using a propane tank. And you just wanna go over it a couple times, give it a second, come back over it. Good to go. I figured I would just show you guys how I solder since I'm doing it all by myself. It's kind of nice if you have a person to help you to like hold the solder or whatever, but we don't. So you're gonna take your first wire, wind it up. You're gonna take your second wire and wind it up. Now I cut it about twice as long. First wire I need, hold my thumb on there, or my finger, whatever, and I wrap it around it a couple times. That way I know it's gonna stay there when I'm ready to solder it, and that way I don't have to hold it together when it's so burning hot. So they're wound together like that. Now we're gonna take our soldering gun and our solder. What I like to do is I heat the solder gun up and I place it under. That way the heat transfers up through the part, or up through the wire, and it heats the wire up, because you want the wire hot. Who cares if the solder's hot? You want the wire hot. Just like that. Put a little on there, let off. Okay guys, so one other thing I like to use is this little mesh stuff from Amazon actually too. That costs like 25 feet, cost me I think another 10 bucks. And what it does is it expands. If you guys can see that, it gets small, and then when you tighten it, it gets tight around the wires. And you see how all the wires were before? Now look how clean that looks. It's all one path coming down to the M unit. So we got our grounds all hooked up to the ground. Don't worry, I'm gonna solder that all together when I'm done. But everything's getting grounded out at the same spot, because that's what you do. So we got our switch ground out, and then we got our switch hooked into our M unit, that where it says switch in, and our pink wire that is for the clutch is hooked up to the black wire here. Yellow and red wire. We just have an orange wire running to the starter out. Now I'm just using this orange wire for temporary, just to make sure everything works right. So we're gonna give it a try. And our starter is hooked up, and our starter solenoid is hooked up to our battery. And our starter wire goes down into the starter of the motor, and that's only one wire. So we're gonna turn the key. Everything kicks on. Now we're gonna hold the clutch. Keys on. We're gonna hit the starter.